Hi, welcome to Laughing Monkey. Today we've on well-known tattoo artist, but just an artist of all items. Paul Booth, welcome to the show.
How you doing? Thank you.
Well, I'm excited to have you on. I've been a fan of your work since I started getting tattoos in the 1800s. Seems like,
Just me too.
right? And I remember, I look at tattooing. We're going to talk about a lot of different stuff tonight. Not just uh, numbers here, but to me, there's like the first three versions of tattooing. There's the first generation was like sailors and kind of like the guys that would cause trouble. The second generation is, I think you were some of the guys that led the generation. That's from the time I came in. Like I feel like in the '90s, and now there's like a newer version where it's a lot different.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I feel that's how I see it. As just, I mean, of course, there's blurred lines, of course, but
Mhm.
to me, it feels like really some solid lines. Kind of point over the tattoos, some solid lines and some shading between the two. Um, and you led the second one. One of the people leading the second one, as far as I'm concerned, that's when I started. You were all over the magazines, and I remember first seeing you in some of the tattoo magazines I was getting as I was doing research for mine with the Pantera and Sepultura. I mean, that's kind of.
Mhm.
Do you think that's
Uh,
what kind of put you in the spotlight from there?
yeah, well, it's one of the things that launched a lot of stuff. I mean, that was my first tour was in '94. It was Pantera, Sepultura, and Biohazard. And, it was huge. And I was just backstage the whole tour tattooing everybody, and that became my summer thing. I used to bus hop between bands and I'd go out with one band for a couple weeks, tattoo a couple of them, and I'd jump on with another band for a week or two and just jump around like that and did all the early Ozfests and family values, things like that. And I basically that's what led to being featured in Rolling Stone back in 2000 something. I don't remember when, 2002, I think. At any rate, that obviously launched a lot of stuff, and I've been in other magazines since then, but that was a big moment.
Well, there's no internet back then, so I mean, this is that kind of launch was so different, and that's why I say that was. I'm
Yeah.
sure you were doing other stuff beforehand, but the public eye got the first glimpse of you. To me, I still think of that time, that magazine, and one of the first pieces I think of seeing of yours, besides the Cool Bite Gaggle, was I think it was Igor's chest tattoo. I'm thinking, oh my god, this
Oh,
guy hurt so badly.
Mac. That was
Yeah,
Mac.
Mac. Sorry, it was Mac's
Yeah.
tattoo. You're right.
Yeah.
Sorry. And to me, it looks like the most painful tattoo I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah. He made it through it.
Oh my god, I would just cry going through that one. It's just tough. So, but you also do a lot of things. I want to talk about specifically one thing now is you also do music.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I try. I don't know. It's different.
Well, I like it. I was listening to it. You have it up on Bandcamp, and it's out everywhere in places.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Um,
like chill out, ambient chill out, dark stuff. Um, I've been exploring a lot of different avenues in my music. Like I was trying to get to more like festival oriented music, but I'm not into house, techno, and things like
mhm.
that. So I was trying to find a way to make more rhythmic, melodic music that was still dark, and that's hard. And I'm still playing with that. But I think my next album is going to be more of a dark ambient re-exploration, something really creepy.
Because there's not enough music when you're murdering somebody to have some really good background music. No one really
Yeah,
thinks about that.
exactly. It's all about the theme music.
The theme music. No, it's serious. No, I mean, you did say something that's really interesting about your music, though. You said it's not something you can be driving around in the car listening to. It's
Right.
it's situational music. Like if you're doing some work, you want to focus on something. It's
Yeah,
wherever you're
that's what
doing
it's
it.
meant for.
Like
Yeah.
if you're doing a project or something, you want to
Yeah.
zone in.
It comes from I started with kind of art meditation music, I guess you could say. I was making music. I think my first album was I did a series of paintings for in a gallery opening. And with the paintings, I gave each one a soundtrack and ended up making an album with the songs named after the paintings and kind of put them together in a relationship and uh, did a two CD digipack of it, and back when digipacks were a thing.
That's why I'm smiling. I'm like, kids, look it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Um,
was after cassettes, but before Spotify.
yeah. So that was the beginning, and all that music was geared towards listening to when I paint. Everything I do, I make for me. I'm an only child, so that's just how it is. If I like it, you're probably gonna like it because I'm a really bad critique.
Yeah.
Uh, I tear myself up when I create, so it's just my nature, and you know, it's like an emotional roller coaster. Every project, even every song, um, for me to create it. There's periods where I love what I'm doing, and there's times where I hate what I'm doing. It's the end of the world. It's the beginning of the world. All over the place, like emotionally as an artist. Not like a train wreck, but I mean, I go through a
I don't
lot of
know.
different thoughts and dark things and explore.
Something just like parenthood.
Yeah. Hmm.
No, but on a serious note, but like, so like you, is there a point, or actually, is there a medium? Because which first off, what's crazy is you do so many things so well that a lot of people can only do like one skill. But you're one of the guys that can do like, I can paint, I can draw, I can tattoo, I do music, I write, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like you create, you're crafting, you do sculpting. With a lot of things. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of artists, I got artists in my family, um, do a lot of different things. It's not automatically just because you're an artist, you can do everything.
Hmm.
Did you discover that, or did you just kind of evolve into saying, I think I can do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how does that evolve for you?
Well, it evolved from I've always been an explorer. I've always been kind of a pioneer. I always like to reach out into places no one ever has, or seldom has, or I especially haven't. Like I still want to get into glass blowing, but I just haven't found a
Yeah,
resource. So
that
there's
looks
all
awesome.
kinds of things I want to do, but it's my nature to when I take on a new medium, I look at them all as mediums, whatever it is. Even coding is a medium to me because you approach it creatively even though it's coding, it's still a creative approach to how you put it together. And I just get hooked on the creativity of any medium I work in. And my nature is to try and master it. And I take the tools involved and I do my best to master them and create with them. And the other thing too, kind of art for me is a therapy. I don't do it for fun. I do it because I have to. I'm not saying I hate it, but
Right.
it's a sometimes a poisonous journey because I'm kind of looking inside myself at things that normal people don't really choose to look at or want to look at, and face your
Yeah.
demons, I guess you could say. And it comes through in my art, especially if I'm working alone, like a painting. Um, they're always dark. All my stuff is dark because that's what I do. And to me, art should touch a nerve. For me, it needs to touch a nerve for me to like it. If it's some happy landscape, I'm not really into it at all. I like art that moves you. I like art that suggests an idea that turns your thoughts inside out in some way,
Mm.
and that's where my heart is, and that's where my interest lies. So everything I create explores some dark side of the human condition. Um, and yeah, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. But as therapy, I kind of found a way to beat my OCD through art. And what I did was I sat down one day and I imagined myself talking to that particular demon.
Mhm.
Uh, and I said, look, let's make a deal. We have to coexist. I can't get rid of you and you can't get rid of me. So I'll tell you what, here's the deal. I'm going to let you out to tear things up and be as OCD as you want. Just go crazy. The only deal is stay in the yard. That's all I say. That's the only rule. Stay in the yard. And for me, the yard symbolically is a project.
Right.
So I sit down to any project, whether it's a tattoo, a painting, music, whatever it may be. I sit down to it and I just let my OCD out and I overanalyze. I do my OCD thinking, and I let it out and I let it play and I create things, and it's all really a result of that. So that's how I create.
It's very interesting because I love talking to artists how they create the process, and like some artists create like they want to get it out of them, they do it as a project and it's done. Some people
Right.
do personal therapy, and you think after 30 years you'd be like you get to the sunsets. Whereas you've got like you're partnered with it, and you know how it exists in you, and you work through it as a deal. It's pretty awesome, actually. I never heard that before like that. So it's the process is always different with somebody. You know what I mean? But it's to have you have like a long term goal with it, and knowing who you are and how your brain works to continue
Yeah.
it on. How are you balancing out this? Like, so with this inside of you, are you like, do you just take blocks of time? Like, I'm inspired by music at this point, or I have a cutoff time for this. Like, there's so many different things
No
you can do. I
cutoff.
mean, you can't sleep. I mean, you got
Yeah. Well, I basically, my circadian rhythm is about a 36-hour day and about 3 to 4 hours of sleep in that time.
that sounds healthy.
That's kind of, if I don't have appointments, that's where I naturally go to. And
Okay.
as much as it, yeah, I know it doesn't sound healthy, but I'm one of those rare occurrences that I don't require much sleep. I don't need 8 hours. I'll wake up in 3 hours without even an alarm clock, and then I'm wide awake,
Wow.
ready to work again. It's weird, but it is what it is, and I take advantage of it because who knows
Yeah.
if it'll last forever, but I get a lot of shit done. And that's why, because I'm up for 24, 30 hours straight,
That's
Oh,
insane.
yeah. And well, there's a lot of things about me that are insane, but I function, and um yeah, I guess because I have to stay busy in projects to keep myself settled,
Mhm.
or sane, I guess you could say. I jump from project to project when I'm awake. I just create all day long and all night long, and I just jump from one project to the next, and that turns into a whole bunch of projects, but I change it up out of interest, First I'll tattoo for 3 or 4 hours, then I'll paint for an hour, then I'll make music for a couple hours, I'll go back, I'll tattoo for a couple hours. I just jump all over like that.
Are you ever thinking like, oh, you're doing something else? You're like, God, that's a great idea for painting, and then stop and go, I gotta go paint this dot. I have a great idea for song. Obviously, in the middle of tattoo, you can't do that. You gotta finish where you're at. But when there's solo based things, we can stop painting or you can stop drawing or coding. Do you ever just kind of go off to another idea or write it down or something with part of the process?
They're compartmentalized in my head, really. I'm thinking about them when I'm not working on them. Like right now, I haven't painted this painting in 3 months. I haven't worked on it, but I've been thinking about it and painting it in my head so that I know when I go back to it, I'll be right on point. I don't know what it is, the way my brain works, but I can think about several different things at the same time. That's not multitasking, I say, because I can't multitask, but walking and chewing gum at the same time can be problematic. But otherwise, I mean, I kind of just remember where I'm at. It's like, I guess it comes from tattooing multiple sitting projects where I start a back piece and I come back a month later and pick up where I left off. And every month in the process, I pick up where I left off last time. So I reach a finishing point of a project and then I say, okay, we'll get back to this from this point later. And whenever I get back to it, whatever that may be, depending on its priority level in my head, like if I have a deadline or something, I'll focus on one project over another.
Do you find your memory starts to lapse after a while, or as you get older now? Like I
Oh,
know
my
myself,
memory's my memory's completely screwed.
like I do
Yeah,
stuff now and I work with people like and I do IT, like, oh, you just worked on so and so's machine. I'm like, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what I did yesterday. Just bring it to me and I'll work on it. I'll fix it. Give me a problem, I'll fix it. I
yeah,
can't remember. So to
right.
me, the creative end of that, to be like, once I have it in front of me and for a couple minutes of talking, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I know where I am now. And zoop, I'm back in there, you know,
Yeah.
360.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, with my clients, they spend the afternoon staring at the top of my head, and I spend the afternoon staring at their tattoo. So half the time, I'm not sure I remember what they look like months later, but I remember the tattoo immediately. And then everything else floods back in.
Yeah,
But,
okay.
you know,
I get that.
a lot of my clientele, I remember by the work I did on them, especially if it's been a few years. I can't possibly remember everybody. So.
Excuse me. So That's actually really interesting. So I know when you first start out, I mean, and as an artist, you'll take suggestions, but you kind of really work with your own inspiration, which is any tattoos I've ever gotten. I've always believed if I have an idea, I'll bring it in, work with the artist. I never want to have any art done for me without the artist being involved. That's insane to me because otherwise, just get a photocopy. You
Yeah,
just make
yeah.
a copy. I mean, and there are talented people that can make exact copies. They're just talented, just people in
Oh
the
yeah.
voice who the people in the voice that can just sing perfectly, but they can't write a song or be in a band or tour. Like,
Right, right, right.
and that's awesome for them. But
Hmm.
that's not what I want. Tattooing is an art, just more challenging because the medium is different. And I think that ties into this part also because when you do it, and I believe you are looking at the contour of the body, and you're probably basing it more and more on experience. When you come back with the idea, have anybody ever pushed back on you in that, even at any point, like being like,
I
"This
don't
is
let
exactly what I
them.
want."
I really don't let them. People come to me wanting what's in my head. I'm very
Yeah,
fortunate that way. But I kind of demanded that early in my career. Had a way with people to explain that, like, listen, if you want the best tattoo I can provide for you, then you have to give me artistic freedom. If you can't do that, I understand, but there needs to be a trust level here that may be beyond the ordinary. You need to sit down and be willing to say, here's my arm, here's my idea, give me your version of it. And if you can't do that, then we're not really sitting down, you know? And
right.
it's been that way for such a long time that now I gratefully enjoy the freedom that I have is 99.9% of the people that come to me give me, I'm working on bodysuits that are completely my idea. And it's
Oh
not
wow.
that I need to own it. It's just that, I need to interpret what they want. My job is to take your vague idea or whatever it may be and envision it in my own way, talk to you about it, find a way to collaborate on it and develop it. Usually clients that want to drive the car and have a hard time trusting, I don't really work well with. You have to really be willing to like
Surrender.
get a big boy tattoo.
Yeah. It,
So,
it's. I'm sorry. So here's a thought I have, and when people say like get like this is going to sound a little follow me in here, get like a haircut or something, or certain looks or clothes, like
mhm.
it's got to go with the shape of your face. Certain clothes you can wear. You know, I'm going with the tattoo now. Are there
Yeah.
certain tattoos you think you're like that's not going to work with your body shape, your head shape? Like, does that play into you at all?
No,
Like your ideas and themes? Because people are
it's it,
different,
it everyone's different and it's not a
and some
matter of
tattoos aren't going to be flattering for some
yeah,
people.
well, the challenge and the goal is to make it work with the body you're working on.
Right.
And I've never had an experience where someone could not get what I wanted to do on them or what they wanted. There's always a way. The musculature, the human
I'm saying that is a thought process, though. Too, you that is part of your thought, though, how it's going to look.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Because of
It's
how they
all
look, you're like, I can't do it like this because their body's like this. It's not going to look
exactly. Yeah, but I
flattering.
find a way. I do find a way. That's the challenge that I enjoy. Um, Sometimes, you'll get people that maybe they think they're too skinny for a tattoo. I hear that a
Right.
lot. And it's not the case. It's making the tattoo fit a skinny arm. It can't, it's not something that can't happen. It's just you need an artist like a cover-up artist. They're rare and far between these days. These newer kids don't really know how to do a cover-up. They were never taught cover-ups. There's some good ones out there, yeah, but there's a lot of kids that can't do a cover-up. It's a dying
Do
art, you know.
you think it's because people just getting laser surgery now, and so it's not worth it for people
Well,
to
they
cover up?
invented they invented a new thing called blackout tattoos, and that was invented by people that don't know how to do cover-ups.
Yeah.
So a lot of people hate me for saying that, but it's the fucking truth. And and that's just how it is. It's a trend like any other, like tribal was 30 years ago. Um, it's just another trend, and I've seen them all come and go. I'm in 39 years, so
Well, that's quite a while.
yeah,
And you've done so much, with it. And now, if people aren't aware, your last rites, uh, studio theater, it closed during COVID,
yeah.
and you've also had some health issues. So before going further, how you feeling? You look like you're moving, you're bouncing around pretty good.
Oh man, the stress levels are gone. Getting out of the city, it was
But your
great for
neck though
me.
too, right? Your back, your
Yeah, my
surgery too.
neck, yeah, my back is screwed up, my hands, my feet. You know, um, age, and tattooing has a certain degree of wear and tear with it, believe it or
Mhm.
not. You think you're just sitting in air conditioning all day, but sitting can be harmful over time. I'm not one to obviously get out and exercise, so I beat myself up pretty good over those years.
I At one point I was doing some work. I do video work and stuff. I was doing some video work, and I was way back shooting on film, film and tape for a tattoo shop. So I was in the shop the whole time, and I was shooting all the footage, and then we're gonna make it like a B-roll tape. This was
Hmm.
early on before we had any of that stuff out there, right? When you come in, you see his work up on there and slides,
Yeah.
and it was a great idea because nobody was doing it, and we both were kind of like, yeah, this could be cool, right? So I spent a lot of time in tattoo shops, like day in and day out, not just getting a tattoo. And,
Yeah.
and that's why I say that, because I mean, watching the wear and tear. So when I heard you like your back, I'm like, I don't know how you guys even any of you last
Yeah.
like 5 years without blowing out your backs. It's like
Yeah.
being a hairdresser with your wrists, or anything an athlete with your whatever you're doing. Focus is just insane. So be hunched over like that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I started the whole trend of, not a trend really, but it was basically the black t-shirt hunched crew. And it was guys like me that were just in their chair hunched like this all day, and 40 years of that, and your neck is just thrashed. So there used to be a bunch of us like that. I'm still hanging in there, but
So at this point, I'm glad you're feeling better too, because I know your surgery was pretty important. You're doing it out of your is it New Jersey studio, or the temporary studio?
yeah,
What do you call it? I
I
want
got
to
it.
honor
I,
it by saying it right.
I I got a private studio now. If you make an appointment with me, you get the address. And I basically turned uh, my space into an art studio, and I just do like one big tattoo a day, and I'm happy. No stress. I'm making art all day long. Basically, getting rid of my shop was one of the best decisions I had to make in 20, 25 years. I'm back to my art again. When I had the shop in the city, I had to be a businessman at least half of every day, making decisions, making moves, handling shit. Now I just get up, I go to the
Yeah.
studio and I work, and I enjoy it. I look forward to it every day. And it's nice to have that back. Got my art
It's
back.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's funny because that's the least thing you think about being a tattoo artist would happen to you, because that's what happens to like people like me in IT.
Yeah.
Because you do say you do well, and they're like, "What's your next role? What do you want to do?" I go, "I don't want to go any higher. I want to do what I'm doing. I don't want to be in charge of people. I don't want to be in meetings." But what happened to
Right.
you with your success? All of a sudden,
I
you're
had
becoming
to.
you're a boss. You're doing
Yeah.
taxes. You're
Yeah.
doing a
Yeah.
payroll, or you got a
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
Some of those things, but it became way bigger.
I
You
had
know,
big ideas and I had to be a businessman to achieve the big ideas. So I jumped in and I did it. But my heart's in the art, of course, and it came to a point in my career and my life where it was one or the other. And I decided to stick with the art. I don't need to make $5 billion a year. You know what I mean? I'm happy. I live decently and I make my art every day. And I don't know what more to ask for, you
well,
know?
I think you also by that work you put in, you kind of put yourself up there enough of yourself on the street corner of tattoos that
Mhm.
you're going to be out there and people know who you are. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not like you're going to vanish.
That,
You've got your
yeah.
reputation,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
think you've
That helps
locked
a
in
lot.
your security. You don't have to compete with the new,
Yeah. Right.
stuff out there anymore.
Right. Right. Yeah, I
With
made
that,
it to my point.
yeah.
So
No, I think it's good. It's very important. How has the new tattooing changed for like you? Has it been like newer groups of kids? Is it the attitudes different, or like I don't
I
know?
I see a weird, odd balance, a little bit out of balance, but I see a lot of new talent that blows me away. I could never do it, and I love it. I love to see new talent. I love it when it's a sincere artist. But you
Mhm.
also got talent that comes from people that got into this just to be a rock star too.
Right.
And it takes all kinds. And when I go to shows, I meet a lot of these new kids, and I'd say half of them are sincere and respectful, and thank me for what I've done, and things like that. And it's very cool. I enjoy that aspect of it. And then you get the kids that have attitudes, and old timers like me are just gatekeepers and grumpy old men, and part of me is a gatekeeper, but this industry needs gatekeepers. I don't see it as even a bad word. It's like it's an artisan's craft, and it has responsibilities involved that shouldn't be taken lightly. You're
It's a
marketing
mark on
people up
someone's
for
body. Yeah.
exactly, you should give a shit. And that isn't really around anymore with the new kids. A lot of them, not all of them. I say there are some talent. It depends how they were brought in, if they were raised. But these days, you've got kids tattoo in 3 years and they already have three apprentices, and I find that absurd. They're opening up their own shops after they screw over the shop owner that taught them. They'll open up down the street. That's been happening forever, but it's more
Oh, really?
common now. There's no, I don't see as much integrity in the business as I used to.
I
It's
wouldn't know where to go.
it's
If
corporate now. It's gentrified. The culture has had the life sucked out of it. I liked it when it was a smaller scene before it got mainstream. Honestly, it got diluted when it got mainstream. And that, that's how it is. I mean, there's good and bad in anything. I mean, P.T. Barnum said there's an ass for every seat. There's always going to be
Yeah.
people to get the dumb little shit, and there's always going to be people to get the big cool shit. And
P.T.
so,
Barnum said a lot of stuff, huh?
yeah, he did. He sure
I had
did.
to get anything done because I was talking stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that opinion because that's sometimes what I see. Like, so when I talk to a lot of musical artists, right?
Mm.
And generationally, just like you, they put the time in, they do the gigs, the sweat. And then what's happened is, these bands that have platinum albums, I get management now. Well, what are your numbers on Spotify? What are your numbers on Instagram? They're like, what?
Yeah. Right. Right.
I have two platinum albums, man. I've
Right.
toured. I played clubs. And then you got
Yeah.
this other kid who's on Instagram who plays three songs or cover songs. Can't fill a club. Never played out. Not bad. You can still have special people. But here's the thing. When you're not putting the sweat equity in to these
Right. Right.
arts and you're not suffering for it to a certain point, there's going to be anomalies and special people. So I'm not knocking everybody. But generally, I'm seeing the same version of that with music, where it feels like it's almost watered down versions of something, and it's not the same anymore. And then no one can play club. And so I almost wonder, and that's where I'm tying this to you now. Is do you think some of these watered down versions are going to change it because there are like I see a million tattoo shops around my town now. I wouldn't
Yeah.
put any of them because I feel like they're all just popping up. Someone just got a kit on Amazon or
Right.
wherever.
Right. Well,
So I don't feel like it's back in the day. I had one shop, I had to drive to it two
yeah.
towns
Yeah.
over, and it
Yeah.
was reputation. I knew the guy. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So to me, is it could be? I'm wondering what's going to happen. Is it similar? Do you think with
Well,
music has watered down?
we're on the downside of the trend. Tattooing is starting to fade in the mainstream because it's a
Good.
trend like any other. And yeah, I'm thrilled too, because what's going to happen is all of the rock star wannabes are going to fade away because they're not going to be the rock stars they thought they were going to be. It's harder than they think. Dealing with people one on one every day, you got to be a special kind of person to really do that well. And if you want to collect clients and have them return, you got to be good with them. You can't be a dickhead, sorry, my French, but you can't really be,
I don't know if that's French,
okay, well, um,
Monsieur.
yeah, cocksucker. Um, yeah, so um, I
I
don't know.
agree.
I think we're headed towards a tattoo renaissance in a strange way. I think what's going to happen is all the riffraff is going to fade away as they lose interest, as the trend continues to fade. And the only people that will be left are the ones that take it more seriously and ultimately become more of a credit to the industry. So I think in the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to see a shift in tattooing that we're already seeing now. If people pay attention to it, they're calling it the tattoo apocalypse right now because there's so many people that are slow. They're slow because we're oversaturated with too many
Yeah,
shops while a trend is fading. It's doomsday for a lot of people. I see people quitting the industry left and right now. And that's not to say that's what I predicted, but that's what a lot of people predicted, and that's what's going on. It's going to take a few more years, and then most of those shops you'll actually be able to go to and see better work than you do now.
I'd love that. I think I like to see something get to a certain point of success, but you've got to put the work in. And
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
see the similar thing happening to music because, like with AI coming in, and we can talk about AI, Mr. I know you got an opinion, but like
Mhm.
with music, I don't think it's going to kill rock and roll because you know what? AI can't pick up a guitar and play on stage and hit the wrong notes.
You're right, exactly. Well,
Nobody wants to
unfortunately,
see a
the
laptop. No one's going to pay four
right, but
hundred
a lot
dollars
of
to see a laptop.
I know, but a lot of people don't care. That's why AI music is doing so well.
Well, that's
That's
good.
why there's 80 million AI songs on Spotify
It'll go
because
down, I think.
people don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about the bands. If they supported the bands, bands wouldn't be broke, relying on 3 cents from Spotify, you know. And the public, remember Napster and all that. People
Mhm.
jumped on Napster. Oh, I can get Metallica for free. Of course, Metallica's pissed off. Everyone was pissed off. This is their livelihood, you know.
Yeah.
Fortunately, music's not my day job, so I don't rely on making money with it. I don't care. I make it for me, and
But you see where it's going, though.
but yeah,
You know,
yeah, we're in an instant gratification universe now. And
I
so
think it's going to blow
people,
up.
what's that?
You know, I think it's going to blow up. I think
Yeah,
it's because I think we're at the beginning. We're going to the beginning of the saturation. We're at the uphill part because at some point everything becomes so sterile. We're going to get sick of it, and there's going to be
yeah,
the handful of guitarists, and
yeah, yeah,
drummers,
yeah,
and singers,
yeah,
and of course bassists. Not just joking about bassists. And everybody out there, here's a joke: how do you get a
yeah,
bassist off
yeah, yeah,
off
yeah.
your porch? Paying for the pizza. Um, no, but I love bassists. Just kidding. But people that actually do that, and people are gonna start playing more in the garage and start doing it's going to be. I think that's a little further out, and I think AI actually might help force it sooner.
Well, I think, there's a side to this that the act of creating itself is something artists have no interest in losing. you
Right.
know so like I work with AI. A lot of people hate me for it, but I see it as a tool, first of all,
Yeah.
and I use it to make sketch ideas. I don't make final products with it. I sketch out a rough idea. Like if I have a tattoo idea, I'll go into AI and I might make a reference source for myself, and I may look at it while I'm drawing the tattoo on somebody. I'm not stenciling the AI and trying to duplicate it on skin.
Right.
I like the creative process. AI does not provide the creative process. It takes from the creative process. And I know that. That's why I only really sketch with it. Most of what I do is animation now. I'm into film, you know, and it's fun. And there's a side, if you get deep enough into AI, there is actually a creative side to it, to using it, you know. Not to sit here and support it. I mean, I know art and music hates AI, and I understand. I've played with Suno, and honestly, I see the theft, and I understand the anger, you know. But AI is not going anywhere, and you can either learn to adapt to use it, or you can get left behind. Any business you're in, any career you have, AI is or has already infiltrated.
Oh yeah.
And
I see that.
if you don't learn how to work with it, you're done. So you have to become a prompt engineer on top of what you already know. And that's as much as our AI is taking jobs away, it's providing new ones. That's what people don't really realize. It's just a job that you can't handle because you're afraid of AI.
It's also I think that like I know Suno, like I would never go to a band if I couldn't see them on live. No, they're gonna play live or do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the audience is gonna change. That audience that they have right now, it's not gonna be torn away. It's the
Yeah,
same people listen to radio hits that don't know that already these bands are already the Archies anyhow. Half the bands that are on pop radio, you know.
yeah,
So it's not going to affect certain genres and people that want the art. And you're right. I mean, AI is great when you want to do Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of creative things like you're going to create like a billion orcs. Like that's you know what I mean. So
yeah,
there are so many great. This is an easy old reference, but I'm saying there are so many good things to do with it. It is a good point of reference. I use it to help me put some ideas down or word up things, but then I rewrite it again. I'm not this writer, but these are my thoughts put together for me because I can't spend 12 hours writing it. And then I see it on a page and I'm like, okay, then I can start organizing it. But it's still me and it still
yeah,
helps. I mean, I can see with an artist just having a quick reference of your idea in front of you
yeah, yeah.
is
Quick
helpful.
reference, and AI needs a director.
Right.
I mean, AI doesn't just make stuff. You have to direct it as to what you want. So it's a collaboration more than anything, as I found it to be anyway. You know, There's all kinds of opinions about AI, but remember this. When photography was invented, portrait painters were really pissed off like they are now with AI. But here we are years later, and photography still exists and is doing well, and portrait painting still exists and is doing well.
Well, you think photography took a hit with iPhones? Everything took a hit with iPhones, with the cameras and the
Mhm.
phones. I don't. I had a friend that had a photography business. He's now a teacher or working for
Yes.
what I'm saying. He's a photography person. He's a photographer. Now
Mhm.
he's a teacher. He's not doing it anymore because iPhones and photography. Everyone was a
Oh yeah,
photographer.
yeah, yeah.
So I think there was a hit to the photography world with cameras. So I think I mean, you
Oh
can do some
yeah,
really
sure. Well, everything evolves. Everything evolves, just like AI is evolving. Even early AI compared to AI now is night and day.
right.
And I mean, I come from an age when all we had was magazines to promote ourselves. Now it's Instagram and Facebook. And it's sickening because like I have to do a monkey dance in order to get followers, in order to show my work. Screw that. I'm not
That is the
interested in that.
worst. I have the hardest time with social media promoting my show.
Yeah.
I'm just lucky I've got as many viewers as I do because I'm the worst at promoting it. I'm like, I just want to talk and we're going to talk like you and I. We're going to talk about different stuff freely. And if it's there, I shouldn't have
Yeah.
to do like,
Yeah.
crazy clips and be
Yeah. Yeah.
witty and stuff. I'm like, you
Yeah.
had an hour long discussion with somebody that's very interesting and talented. What more do you want? It's already given to you for free on all these
Yeah.
different platforms. I mean, like, come on. But
Yeah.
you're right. And it's harder. And I think, and when I talk to some people, I'm like, oh, I talked to them the other day. I said, generationally, is it different? Because, they were young, they're like in their 30s or 40s, whatever. They do both. They're a musician, but they're really good on YouTube. I mean, because they got like a leg on each side. But then they brought up a good point of as a musician are only seen by music people as a YouTuber, which discredits them, and they're not. They're an unbelievable musician.
Yeah. Yeah.
Each side, because people just want to take the negative, just hits you on each negative. Like you just can't win.
No. Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah.
I almost feel like everybody trying to survive on the platforms is just like struggling. You know.
Well, there's a change about. I actually watched a good interview. I don't remember who it was with, but the future of social media is actually shifting from follower based to interest based. So
Oh, that's good.
it's not a matter of your followers and how many followers you have. It's a matter of who's interested in tattoos. They're the ones that are going to get your posts based on interest rather than followers and busyness and all that. So I guess that's in the process now. Maybe in a couple of years, there'll be a big shift in social
I
media.
could see that working. I could see that working because I mean, like for me, sometimes I'm on all the other streaming platforms, right? But I'm also on
Yeah.
YouTube. I've had some big guests on. Now they've gotten picked up on other websites and stuff, right? But my
Mhm.
YouTube numbers are like a lot smaller than some of these things that do like review of this album and this is
Right,
talk
right.
about an album 30 years ago. And I only have a couple hundred, but I'll get in all the magazines. So everyone's just reading the article taken from it. So which is fine for me because I'm not doing this for money. I don't do it for money. I
Right,
want the
right.
artist to get exposure. So to me, it's okay. But it shows. I'm like, it just seems so weird. Like you think the numbers would correlate. Like people would be driven to hear it, but the articles are taken from that, and they're pretty much word for word. Actually, they are word for word. They transcribe them. So it is exactly what you're saying, interest based from that. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think that would give more artists a fair chance. You know,
yeah. It's pretty ridiculous now. They say all the things you need to do. You need to show your face. You need to do a little intro. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I'm just like, I'm the old guy, man. I ain't doing any of that. I'll post it. If you see it, that's awesome. If you don't, well, I'm getting left behind like a dinosaur. What can I say? At least I'm a
I
happy dinosaur.
right. Well, I'm like literally, I was lucky enough when I first started. I was doing something with Jesus Apple. We've done a bunch of documentaries on his website. He actually gave me a song I could use for my intro. How awesome is that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Unused song, because like copyright and stuff. So I mean, an unused song from Jesus Apple. Yes, thank you, but my favorite artist. Now I'm at a point where it's with my intro. I'm just ready to put just like a video of me just yelling at the kids to get off my lawn to make that my intro. Just because I'm the old man now. I'm like, just get off my
right,
lawn, yelling at the
right,
clouds.
right, right, right. Yeah,
So you know what
yep,
you're getting when you watch the show now at this point. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or me and the
yep.
porch talker Abraham Lincoln or something. I'm like, come on, guys. It's just it's almost too much now. And I think same thing with TikTok and everything else. Do you handle all your social media, or is it do you have someone else do it for you?
I'm looking for an assistant, to be honest with you. If I was going to promote anything on here, I would say I need someone in Jersey to help me with my social media bullshit, because I'm not built for it. I'm not, I know that I'm not, and I'm not gonna put myself in a situation where I'm miserable over it. Oh, I gotta post this. I gotta post every other day. I gotta do this. I'm not into it. I'm into making art. So finding an assistant that can be a social media whiz is ideal, but it's hard to find because now I'm the grumpy old man, all right? Because
Well, it's also what you want, though, right? Because you want to be
yeah,
creative. You don't
well,
want you're not going to be a performer. You want it to be
right,
promoted
right,
as who you
right.
are.
But finding a younger generation with a work ethic is getting more and more difficult, I have to say. And I don't mean to be a grumpy old man, but when I was had my studio, it was millennials I was dealing with, and they would come and go like water through a sieve, I can honestly say. And but now, what is it now? Gen Z or whatever?
I gave up. I don't even know what I am anymore. I'm
Yeah,
55.
well,
What am I? A boomer? I don't even know what I am.
I just, I find that, that they don't want to work. They want to get paid like a director at an entry level job, and then they want to sit around and only be busy when you're there watching them. And I don't have time for that nonsense either. I grew up with a strong work ethic. I work hard for what I got, and I will continue to do so. Um, but I have a hard time working with the younger generation because if you leave them alone, nothing happens. You
Did you
know?
find that happen though with even doing it? I know because you're working alone now, but like working with apprentices. Because I remember early on, you could get an apprentice with somebody like you
Yeah.
or anybody kind of in your town that was whatever. It
Yeah.
was a thing. It was like almost like a badge. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
back in the day, like being like a stonemason back in the way that time, you didn't get paid. You're like an indentured servant for like 7 years, and you did
Yeah,
those
sure.
rules. And
Right.
but modern version of being a tattoo apprentice is like you were really doing you clean up the shop, you're doing that, you're learning, but you have an artist teaching you this is the layering, this is how many times this is the needles,
Yeah,
this is
yeah, yeah.
coloring. I mean, you're getting
Part
art
of it,
school for
yeah,
free, sort of.
yeah, essentially, and part of it. Well, when I learned how to tattoo back in '88, I paid 5 grand for my apprenticeship, and I worked hard. I mopped the floors, I cleaned the toilets, I changed the ashtrays. I did everything I had to do. And as a result, I have a great respect for tattooing and I earned
Mhm.
what I got. It's like the difference between buying your own first car or daddy buying it for you. You know, it's human nature. If it's handed to you, you don't appreciate it as much. That's just how it is with people. And it's the same with tattooing. If you learn how to tattoo for free, it's not about the money, it's about the commitment. That's all the
Yeah.
old timers ever wanted was a commitment from an apprentice. That's why they cleaned the toilets and mopped the floors because you had to show us that you wanted it bad enough. And now it's like a YouTube video and a kit from Amazon and you're good to go. And so, of course, us old guys are pissed off. Of course we are. Why wouldn't we be? We can
I think it
compare
affects the
now to,
quality,
you know,
you know. But I
yeah,
mean, stuff on you. I think it affects the quality. I mean, because you have who did you have reference of? Where did you learn from? So you can draw a flat thing. Everything's flat, just like today's music. It's flat to me. It's
yeah,
missing the dimensions and the
mm,
contours.
right.
I see a lot of the tattoos. I'm just missing stuff. Don't get me wrong. There's great people out there, of course. I want to be bagging on me because I'm dissing everybody. I'm not.
They'll be busy bagging on me. Don't worry about it. I'm used to it.
We should compete. Let's see who can get offended the most in this episode,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I'll get a little tally sheet for us. But
yeah.
I do feel like a lot of the bigger things I'm getting now is just they're missing something in the art
Yeah.
because I feel like the art is not missing. It's a nice picture, but it's missing something. Or even what I've always thought tattoo
Well,
placement matters to me. Like
yeah.
just like song placement in an album matters to me. Now maybe it's an old guy thing. Tattoo placement on a body. When you see somebody's tattoo, you're like, that's the wrong spot. That's wrong. Like, even if it's not one you did, you know what I'm saying? Do you find that's kind of
Yeah.
important?
Well, every genre or every art form has its generics and its people that stand out. Just like in music, you have bands that are just a generic sound and nothing original, really, just a rehashing of whatever else is
Yeah, yeah.
popular right now. Well, it's the same thing in tattooing. There's a lot of tattooers, some of them talented, some of them not, but they're just doing generic commercial work. They're not doing fine art. You know what I mean? Which is fine because, like I said before, there's an ass for every seat. So there you go. There's people that are content with a little gonna fall out soon, fine line tattoo, or the new
Right.
ignorant style, which amuses the hell out of me.
The
Um,
ignorant style.
oh yeah, yeah, look it up sometime. It's amazing.
The ignorant style. It sounds like it'd be the one to get the no regrets tattoo. Feels like that would be the
It's
ignorant style to me.
Yeah, apparently it's a rebellious way of tattooing like a shithead. Like it's meant to look really bad, and it's a style. It's an actual style. So,
Because people that can't tattoo want to have it be able to tattoo also.
right, and I can't compete with that. If that's what everyone wants, then go for it. I can't
It's awful.
understand today's trends. But I'm not here to understand it. I'm doing my thing on the people that like my thing. And my clients are all committed. They're all serious. They're all getting big work, full sleeves, full legs, full backs, full torsos. My clients don't screw around. They're in it for real. It's not a trend for them. You know,
Right.
if it was a trend, they wouldn't be coming to me because I'm yesterday. You know what I mean? Compared to the kids now and what they're doing, I can't do that. I have a particular style. It's a creative style. It's a unique style. It's been around for a long time style, you know, and that's what I do. I don't do portraits because I'm not good at them. My forte is something else. You don't have to be good at everything to be a good tattooer. You can specialize in one or two things if you want. It's that
Mhm.
broad now.
One of the things that I always thought of, and it's always kind of weird, is like and ask you, like, face tattooing and head tattooing. Now, I like your head tattoo, and I like a lot of the old school head tattooing, a lot of artists do because I like it because once again, when I was getting the tattoo magazines, and we go back to the cultures, and there's all these different countries, and all these
Yeah,
different art. Now it's become another thing, where they're getting it done not just because it's cool and it's not having the same meaning and the style. It's changed.
right,
It's not the same as when you got what you did, why you did it. Most people are not doing it for those reasons.
right. Well, most people, um, when
Like,
you have celebrities getting shitty work, you're kind of promoting shitty work. I won't single anyone out, but a lot of celebrities, even in music, they're getting like desk doodles all over their face.
I was gonna say, I love that they look like the underside of a desk.
Yeah, it's
I just
it's
laugh at
true.
that.
It's what it is. And okay, I get it. It's a trend, but it's a stupid trend.
It's a trend.
You
It's a
know,
trend, and it's your face. It's
then
forever.
that's like rebellion again. That's the being rebellious and getting shitty tattoos instead of good ones. Okay, go be rebellious down the road because I'm not interested. Face tattoos, I like them when they're done well,
Right.
but 75% of the time they're not. Honestly, okay, I'm critical, but I've seen on the internet, I see these guys that put a portrait of their own face or their initials on a 19-year-old girl's face to
Oh,
mark
that's
their
just
territory. That actually happens, man. And those are people that I can't relate to and I don't want to. I'm sad. It's sad to me that that even exists in tattooing, but you know, there's an ass for every seat, so they'll
the
be
fact that
around.
someone would let somebody do it. Be like, I'd be like, I can't do it. You're not gonna brand a human being. This isn't.
Yeah,
And if this child's not old enough to know what she's doing or they're doing
yeah.
or he's doing, I'm not gonna let. I'm gonna
That's
say no for
you
them
got.
because
Yeah,
it
you gotta be responsible when you tattoo.
well, that's
I think.
missing. I know. I think that well, there's an adult thing where you gotta be responsible. No one say no. Like that's just dumb. Because an old timer would say, I know someone who said, I'll pay this amount of money and they wanted to have something done. He's like, I can't do that anymore. I won't do that. Or I don't care how much money it is. And this guy needed the money. Trust me. A lot of old
Sure.
time tattooers needed the money.
Yeah, yeah.
And he'd say, I can't do it. I won't do it.
Right.
No matter how
Yeah,
much
there was
money.
an unwritten code years ago. You didn't do hands, you didn't do necks, heads, because they were job stoppers. That's what they called them.
Mhm.
And back then they were. Now they're not. Still to a degree, but really not.
I
You
wouldn't do my arms. I got like short sleeves on each side
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
I wanted to have a job because I don't have the talent to be a
Right,
art
right,
professional. So
right,
I needed to be able to express it, but I couldn't at that
right.
time.
Well,
But now I
we
could.
live
But
in a,
now I'm like, there's no artists
yeah.
that are good anymore.
Well, we live in a different era now where like having a face tattoo does not cost you your job like it
Right.
did. With that comes more dumb face tattoos.
It should cost your job if it's bad though. We should do
True.
qualities.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
I'm like,
sorry, I
I
don't
can't
like
look
you
at you.
having a face tattoo, but it sucks, so you're
Right.
fired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's just some bad art. Clearly, if that's a decision you're gonna make on art, I'm not a big fan of what you're going to do to my business. You know,
You got it. You got it.
I mean,
I look at everyone, I judge them by their tattoos, even
well,
myself. I mean, it's
it's
like,
it's a billboard, right? Though I mean, it's the first thing
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
see when I look at you. First thing I see is your face, and now I can see your tattoo.
If I see
That,
someone covered with amazing work, I know they put some homework into it,
right,
and that says a lot about a person. If they're
and they're
covered with
dedicated into
shit.
it, and it's an
Yeah,
art, and it's their
yeah,
lifestyle, and it's not a cool thing.
yeah,
And so you're like, oh, this person is very deep, and they follow through with what they want. Kind
yeah,
of says with the personality,
yeah, yeah,
because I know you do when you do people full buys, and
yeah,
those are special people that are very dedicated, and probably
yeah.
true to what they do in their other part of their lives. That's totally unrelated.
Right. Carries over. Yeah.
It is a work ethic for that on many levels. Um,
Yeah.
Paul, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. Just have a little jibber jab with me. This has been fun.
Oh yeah, sure. It was fun. Yeah, no problem.
So people can, how can people reach you if they want to get some work done or
Oh,
inquire, or maybe even social media helper or
um,
something like,
on Instagram, it's just Paul Booth. On Facebook, I think it's Paul Booth Official.
I think,
It's my
it's something
page.
like that. Yeah.
And then on the web, it's paulboothart.com.
And you have like an email thing on there too.
Yeah, it's all on the website.
And like
Yeah,
it's in the web. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and the music's out there, people. I encourage people to check out your music. It's pretty good.
Oh, thank you. It's
There is nobody else I'm going to murder now. When I want my murdering, it's going to be you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I promise.
Um, it's
No more Devo.
it's on Spotify and all that. I have 5 albums now, I think, or four,
That was
5.
amazing. I didn't realize you had so many. And
Yeah,
I heard ramblings before, but like in my spot, I hear hundreds of albums at this point.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
and I'd heard, I'm like, oh, I gotta check it out. I gotta check it out. And like,
yeah,
and I heard, oh, albums. So I thought you had two or three in the past couple years. Because I know you do a lot of art. And I saw how many you have. I'm like, geez, when is this guy sleeping? Now I know you don't. So that answers that question.
yeah, yeah, yep.
That's pretty crazy. But I want to thank you for coming on. This has been very enlightening, and maybe down the road you can come back again. We can pick some more topics and kind of
Sure.
have fun.
Yeah,
That was
sounds
really
good.
fun. Thank you.
All right. All right,
Thank
great. It
you.
was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. Hold on a second.